Hey folks, I just want to make this very quick video just to give you a sense of what's coming after spring break. First, I wanted to say I was super pleased with all the work you did for mid-review last Friday. I thought we also had great discussion for each group, and the feedback I think was very clear for each group. If it's not, feel free to send me a note, but I think each group is in great position. Not a tremendous amount of big shifts need to occur, and we can now really get into the details as we get into the second half of the semester. So, with that, I wanted to just share the schedule and kind of what is upcoming. So, this is the schedule for the second half of the semester. In large, broad strokes, we're going to come back from spring break, and we're really working towards cladding week, which will happen on the 8th of April. So we're going to meet with our structural engineer the first Wednesday. And then we're going to have meetings on Fridays with our facade consultant in these 3 weeks. And then we're going to meet again with our structures on Monday. And all of that should help us prepare well for cladding week. After cladding week, again, there'll be a large push for a large scale model. Will be a 1/4 inch model that shows the facade detail. It may not be your whole building. It will likely just be half of the building. Some of you may want to or need to adjust also the 3/32 inch model that fits in the site. So that there'll be a big push for that, as well as finishing the drawings and all the work and feedback we get from cladding week. To zoom in a little bit in terms of the detail of the next 3 weeks following spring break, we're going to go on a little bit of a different schedule. I have some reviews and things that I need to be at on Wednesdays, and it makes more sense for our facade consultant to join us on Fridays. So when we come back on Monday, no significant work I'm asking you guys to do, but just be ready. Have your plans, all the drawings that you had for mid-review out. I want to look at the plans and I want to figure out where you're cutting your wall sections and details. And you want to start to set that up, really. So you have all of that base files set up for our first facade consultant meeting on Friday. Now, the first meeting is going to be a lecture from him, and then there'll be time for just a couple questions for each group. So things don't have to be worked out, but you should this week really get clear what you want out of your facade, what the intent is, what materials, kind of the basic panelization that you might be interested in, or what the effects of your facade want to be this first week. That's pretty critical that we have an understanding by Friday of exactly what that is, because we'll have that meeting. He'll share a lecture. You can ask a couple intro questions about what you're looking at, but really then the expectation is you are trying to draw your facade in the wall section and the details, the next few weeks. And so I'm outlining that you have, let's say, 40% of that done. I have on here on the schedule render draft optional. I do think most, if not all groups, may want to do basically two renderings. And what I want everybody to do is one overall building rendering that's from the ground using a photograph and one detail rendering. Now, we can talk about this as a group, and if this can be done in physical model, then that's great. Otherwise, I just want everybody to just do two careful images, and we'll update those over the course of the second half of the semester. But that really is telling the facade consultant and the jurors when we have reviews, this is what I want out of the facade. This is what I want it to look like. These are the colors. This is the modules, etc. That's really the intent. So there is that as a kind of additional deliverable coming up. But you're basically working on your wall section and your details this week and maybe updating the rendering. Some of you will still be maybe doing slight updates to plan and section as well based on the structural feedback. We'll have our next facade consultant meeting this day. It'll be likely in person. We'll print out the details and you'll come in and we'll draw over them and make sure that that's heading in the right direction. On Monday, we'll have a follow-up with our structural engineer just to make sure that as we're working through the facade, we aren't having any significant structural issues as well. Again, won't have class this Wednesday, but we'll have our facade consultant meeting again on Friday. So this will be the last time we get significant feedback from our facade consultant, but that should be perfect timing. We have 80% detail of your wall section. So you've been focusing on your wall section and details in preparation as we lead up to, again, cladding week. Then as cladding week starts, obviously we want to finish the wall section and details. Cladding week that day will be similar to the structures review. It'll be mostly internal faculty with some additional help from some outside consultants. But prior to that, obviously we want to finish or get very close to finishing the wall section and details. And we want to start planning the physical model digitally. So we know what the big 1/4-inch model will be. And then after cladding week, again, we're just working towards another photo shoot day in a few weeks and just working through all the details, finessing everything. So that is the basic structure, but really a big push in the first 3 weeks for the facade consultants and making sure that you are achieving what you want in your facade. The other thing that I'm going to clean up and share on Monday is this, and this is really the template and the expectation for how you're going to be detailing the facade. Now, I have to change this, but this will be the kind of final review board. You'll have plans and then model photos and those couple of images that I mentioned. And then on this side is all your kind of sectional and detail information. So you'll have one big 1/4-inch building section, and then you will identify an area, ideally from that section. And again, we'll talk, some of you may want 2 building sections, and we're going to look at that. But you want to identify an area on the building section to zoom in at 1/2 inch equals a foot scale for the wall section. So this would have more detail than the 1/4-inch, which is really more kind of building section. And then from that wall section, you want to be identifying at least 3 areas, probably foundation detail, a floor transition or floor package detail at the facade, and then a roof detail. Many of you'll have different conditions. You'll have cantilevers, overhangs, things that you want to look at, things that are important for the visibility from the inside and the outside. So you want to identify where those are and what they are. And those will be bubbled, and then you'll do facade details or envelope details at 1 inch equals a foot, all the way up to potentially 3 inches equals a foot. So don't take this as exactly what your board will look like. Everybody will have something different. Some of you may also have plan details. If you're looking carefully at one area of the facade, you'll do a section details with a plan detail. But this is really what I want to talk about on Monday. So looking at your building section and trying to identify where the wall section is going to be and then where the details ultimately will be. But we can work through that. So coming with some sense of what your facade wants to be, and then we can talk about where you're going to be making these detail drawings. So that is what's coming. I just wanted to give you that update. Again, great job at mid-review, and look forward to seeing you all on Monday and having a great second half of this semester. Okay, hope everybody's enjoying their break and we'll see you soon.